Today, we're cracking open a guide to freedom that's nearly 2,000 years old. And get this, it wasn't written by some emperor or a powerful general. Nope, it was written by a slave. So let's dive in and unlock the secrets to freedom from the absolutely incredible mind of Epictetus. Let me ask you something, and be honest. Are you just tired of worrying about things you can't control? The traffic, what other people think, the economy. It's completely exhausting, right? Well, what if I told you that almost 2,000 years ago, a man who was literally someone else's property figured out the ultimate key to that very same anxiety? Okay, so let's get right into it. Our guide on this journey is Epictetus, and his personal story is frankly just as powerful as his philosophy. This is a guy who didn't just think about freedom, he had to find it under the most unfree conditions you could possibly imagine. I mean, just look at this timeline for a second. He starts his life as actual property. He's owned by a powerful and likely very brutal secretary to the infamous Emperor Nero. Even after he somehow gains his freedom, another emperor, Domitian, sees his ideas as so dangerous that he kicks him out of the country. It was only after all of that, after being a slave, then in exile, that he finally founded his school. This is not some abstract ivory tower philosophy. This is wisdom forged in the furnace of real hardship. His ideas on freedom had to work in the real world, or he literally would not have survived. So how on earth did he do it? How did he find mental freedom while his body was in chains? Well, his entire philosophy, the very core of its power, can be boiled down to one brilliant, life-altering metaphor. And here it is, from saying 174 of his golden sayings. Everything has two handles, one by which it may be borne, the other by which it may not. Just think about that. Every single situation you face in life, every event, every person, it has two handles, two ways for you to pick it up. Epictetus calls these the two handles. The first handle is the one that causes all our grief because it's attached to everything we can't really control. Our bodies get sick, we can lose our possessions, our reputation is in the hands of others. But the second handle? That's where our power is. It's attached to the things only we can control. Our judgments, our desires, our will. And here's the kicker. According to Epictetus, every bit of frustration in your life comes from one simple mistake, trying to grab things by the wrong handle. And that brings us to the central lesson. We think freedom means getting to control events, bending the world to our will. But that's a recipe for misery. True freedom, real freedom, is mastering your own inner world by choosing your response. That is the only power, the only freedom that can never, ever be taken from you. Not by an emperor, not by a boss, not by anyone. Okay, so if we're supposed to focus only on our response, how do we actually apply that in the real world, with jobs and families and all the chaos? Well, Epictetus gives us another powerful metaphor. See your life as a stage play. He says our business is simply to act the part assigned thee well. To choose it is another's. In other words, you don't get to write the script. You don't choose the role you're given, whether you're born rich or poor, a slave or a citizen. But you have absolute 100% control over your performance. How well you deliver your lines, that's all on you. This whole idea breaks down into 3 really concrete steps. First, accept the role. Just stop complaining about the circumstances you've been handed. Second, play it fitly. Whatever your job is, whatever your duties are, perform them to the absolute peak of your ability. Be the best you can be in that role. And third, desire no other part. Stop wasting all that precious mental energy wishing you had someone else's life, someone else's role to play. Now, this is where Epictetus takes this concept of control to a more extreme, and for the Stoics, a deeply comforting place. He called it the open door, and for them, it was the ultimate source of tranquility. He asks, "Is there smoke in the room? If it be slight, I remain. If grievous, I quit it. Why? For you must remember this, and hold it fast, that the door stands open." Now, this door he's talking about is the ultimate freedom, the ability to exit any situation, including life itself, if it becomes truly unbearable. For the Stoics, knowing that you are never ever truly trapped is precisely what frees you from the fear of any circumstance or any tyrant. It's what makes you fearless. And that kind of fearless thinking is what allows us to build what the Stoics call the inner citadel, a mental fortress so strong that external events just can't breach its walls. It's how you become, in a very real sense, uninjurable. Epictetus loved to quote his hero, Socrates, who said this at his own trial right before he was sentenced to death. Anytus and Miletus may put me to death. To injure me is beyond their power. Think about the power in that statement. Sure, they could kill his body, but they couldn't touch his mind, his character, his virtue. They couldn't harm the real him. So this is how you build that citadel. First, you have to realize that you are the one who decides what's harmful. You practice separating an event, like say, losing your job, from your judgment about the event, which might be, this is a total catastrophe. You have to understand that no one can damage your character unless you let them. And finally, you remember that your mind, your ability to reason and to choose, that is your only true possession. Everything else is just on loan. All right, so after exploring all of this, the two handles, the stage play, the inner fortress, what is the single most important, crucial point from this slave who became one of history's most freeing philosophers? It all comes down to this one single, unbreakable truth from Sane 83. No man can rob us of our will. No man can lord it over that. Your body can be chained, your property can be seized, your reputation smeared, but your will, your power to choose how you respond, that is yours. It is yours alone. And that is the true home of your freedom. And that leaves all of us with one final question to really think about. Forget yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's anxieties. In this moment, right now, what is the one thing you can actually control? That's what's worth your attention. Thanks for joining me.